So on today, y'all, we are talking about Southwest Airlines and their seating policy changes, because a lot of people online, especially plus size travelers, are saying these changes are going to affect them the most. And if you've been on TikTok lately, you've probably seen people already sounding off about it. Some people are saying the policy is unfair. Some people are saying it's about safety. And others are saying airlines are quietly making flying more expensive for having bigger bodies.
Okay, so this is a story time on how I will never fly with Southwest. So this just happened. Today is Monday, March 9th. This happened on the 8th. Okay, so boom. I booked a trip through Southwest to leave from Los Angeles back to Indianapolis, Indiana. I was in town for a comedy festival audition. Hopefully I get it. After all I went through, I better get it. So mind you, you know how airfare is. You check in the day before your flight. So I checked in my flight. I got my boarding pass. I had a layover in Denver. So I got my boarding pass, but for some reason, my second boarding pass wasn't coming up. It said, see security document or something like that. Check security document. Check at the gate. My flight was at 8:20 a.m. Los Angeles time. I make it to the airport, 7 o'clock, whatever. I check in with the lady at the gate, only for two reasons. One, for the document to get my boarding pass for my connecting flight. But also, I wanted to check, like, hey, is this a full flight? Simple question. And I'll be honest, I checked if it's a full flight because who don't like a row by themselves? Who don't want to have a space in between? But let me keep going. So I'm talking to the lady. I'm like, is it a full flight? She said, yes, it's a completely full flight. All right, cool. No worries. Mentioned the thing about the boarding pass situation. Before I'm leaving, she started to ask me, real polite, like, Miss Asia, just wanted to know, when you sit on the plane, do you have any issues? And before she could finish, I said, I can get the arm seats down, baby girl. Don't you worry about that. Nope, the arm seats go down. Cool. No problem. You don't impede on anybody. Nope, all to the good. So I thought that was that. I thought that was the end of the conversation. I go sit in the seating area, just chilling until it's time for us to start boarding. About 10, 15 minutes later, I hear my name on the intercom. I think nothing of it because, again, I did ask if it was a full flight. So I'm about to see, like, maybe they, like, Asia, Miss Asia, we seen that we did have a seat, a row that's by itself or a row where there's no middle seat. Just wanted to see if we can get your book changed, whatever. That's what I'm thinking it is. I get to the desk, and it's the same young lady who asked me the question, and then also this man who has identified himself as the supervisor. And she stated, yeah, my supervisor mentioned that it'll be safe and better for you to go ahead and purchase, and best for you to purchase a second seat. What? So I'm like, purchase a second seat? So I see the supervisor. I'm saying, so you're the supervisor? And he's like, yes, I'm the supervisor. And I was like, what do you mean purchase another seat? Well, for safety concerns. Safety concerns? My thing is, what's the safety concern? Because first of all, y'all said it was a full flight. So full flight to me means full. Like full to the top. No extra nothing. No room for anything else because that's full. And the safety part of it still doesn't make sense because if it's an empty seat but I'm still on the plane, what changes anything? And then, where did y'all pull this seat out y'all ass from? Because you just told me it was a full flight. So where the seat that you want me to pay for come from? So I'm like, purchase another seat. And she's all on the phone trying to arrange for this additional seat, typing away, talking to the person, typing away, click, clack, 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 clack. And she said, yeah, it'll be $406.95. Who are you talking to, ma'am? Who are you? $406 for who? So I'm like, well, if I don't have that money, what does that mean? Because what do we do now? I'm not paying $406. So what do we do now? Well, we can't let you board the plane. What? They treated me like Sheila from Why Did I Get Married? They gonna make me have to drive to save my marriage? So not only did they say I will not be able to board the plane, they went ahead and canceled my flight.
So y'all, let's break this thing down. Let's talk about what Southwest seating policy used to be, what they've changed now, why plus size passengers are worried, and why overhead bin space somehow keeps getting dragged into the conversation. As always, because this situation is a lot more complicated than people think. Hey you guys, welcome back to my channel. Welcome if you are new here. My name is Kimonica, and my channel focuses on weight loss, reactions, and accountability. Since you clicked on this video, I think you will enjoy some of my other reactions, so be sure to check out my channel before you go. Also, leave me a comment. Let me know what you think about this topic. Like and share, of course. And be sure to subscribe. While I'm over here eating some white grapes, they big and like tight. Y'all know them kind. Ooh, and they so sweet. They so good. So if y'all hear a little smacking here and there, that's why. So first, let's talk about how Southwest Airlines used to operate, because they were actually very different from other airlines. So Southwest was known for what's called open seating. That means when you board the plane, you are assigned a boarding group, but you do not get a specific seat. You literally walk on the plane, choose any open seat you want. So the earlier you board, the better seat you can grab. So this system has been a part of Southwest brand for decades. People loved it because families could sit together, people can choose an aisle seat or a window, and frequent travelers learn how to game the system, of course. But open seating also created some awkward situations, especially for plus size travelers. As most of y'all know, I am an IT consultant, and something that consultants do is travel a lot. At one point in my career, I was traveling every Monday. I was traveling out of my state, and then or even on Sundays, and then Fridays I was traveling back in. So I caught a lot of flights, and I got to know what airlines I really enjoyed. I might tell y'all about my Delta incident later in this video, but for now, I only traveled with Southwest one weekend out of the hundreds of flights that I've taken. I've only chose Southwest one time. I left Nashville. I don't remember what city I went to, and I came back into Nashville on Southwest. My experience, now keep in mind, as you guys know, I've had a big body. I've been a plus size woman all my life. As for all of my adult life, I've been somewhere in the 200s, somewhere in the 300s, right? I've been 400, I've been 500 pounds, all of that. But as I was consulting, I was always in somewhere in between 200 to 300 pounds. So I've always been a big girl once I got into my career, but I really didn't have sitting seat issues, because even though I was plus size, I could still fit in the seat or whatever. But so anyway, I said all of that to say, getting on the plane on Southwest, I remember I was new to flying in a sense. I didn't really understand the whole open seating thing. I thought I didn't understand it all, okay? So I'm getting on the flight. At that point, I find out it's open seating. So I go to sit in a seat, and a man tells me, wave me off. No, basically, don't sit here. He's holding his seat for someone else. Who am I? I'm new to all of this. I keep going. I ended up way in the back. And I just remember thinking to myself, never, ever again. Now, that was something like, it was so small, so small. But my thing is, I just remember the feeling of walking down that aisle. Everyone's looking at me, hoping and praying that I didn't sit by them. The ants, like the anxiety that I had looking for a seat, it was just too much. So that was my experience. That was my first and last experience. I never chose them again for that seat, for that alone. I don't like the guessing game. I do not enjoy the guessing game at all. It's like, no, run into a seat, like a stampede. I do not like that. So yeah. My favorite airline, believe it or not, to fly with is Delta. I love Delta, and I actually like American as well. Just a side note, y'all, I think that in the next like 10 years, conversations like this will be even louder. And the reason I think is because I think people that choose things like Ozempic, weight loss drugs, weight loss surgery, Of course, a lot of them will be successful and they will be slim, and this won't be a part of the conversation for them anymore. And then you will have people, I feel like big people are already shunned. So you'll have big people that just choose to live their best life big or choose to struggle to lose weight. And those people will have issues like that. It's even louder because I feel like big people are going to be an even smaller minority of people. Like they're going to be an even smaller group. I really do feel that way over the next 10 years. Maybe I'll do a video on why and all the things I feel that like is going to happen. But yeah. So anyway, so Southwest Airline actually has a plus size passenger policy, right? It's called customer of size policy. And how it works is if a passenger cannot comfortably fit into one seat without the armrest down, Southwest requires them to purchase a second seat. So again, keep in mind that Southwest already had this policy in place. But what people like was Southwest would actually refund the second seat after the flight if the plane was not full. So technically, you had to buy a second seat up front, but you could get the money back later if the plane wasn't full. Many plus size passengers said this policy was more respectful than other airlines because at least it guaranteed space. But the system still created issues. Some passengers said it felt embarrassing, others said it was financially stressful, especially if flights were expensive. Now, here's where things get interesting for people that like to travel with Southwest. On January the 27th, I think it was 27th or the 26th, somewhere around there, Southwest Airlines officially announced that they are moving away from their traditional open seating and transitioning to assigned seating. For decades, Southwest was known as the airline where you could simply board the plane and choose any seat available. But now passengers will begin selecting their seat ahead of time, much like other airlines. And I love that model. And that change might seem small, but it actually affects a lot of things. That flexibility really matters to people that travel with Southwest. So I'm so confused as to how they went with a different model, but okay. That flexibility matters, especially in situations where someone might need a little bit more leg room or an extra seat. Under the old model, if there was space available, the passengers sometimes had more flexibility when choosing where to sit. But when every seat is assigned in advance, the ability to adjust on the spot becomes much more limited. That's one of the reasons some travelers, especially plus size travelers, are raising concern about how these changes could affect them moving forward. The thought of traveling, so just imagine me being 300, 400, 500 pounds and I have to travel each week. The thought of that traveling was like, honestly, I would have just went the route each week of just buying two seats with United or American or whatever, instead of every single flight, like in the back of my head, oh my gosh, is this going to be a full flight? Oh my gosh, do I have to buy a second seat? Oh my gosh, am I going to be comfortable? Oh my gosh, are people going to want to sit beside me every flight? I would have a panic attack every week. I don't know. I couldn't choose that life. As we can see, this conversation is all over the internet, all over Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, all over. Everyone is talking about how airlines are shrinking seats, how airlines are changing more, how larger passengers are being treated. Every single time, because that's my algorithm, I click online, I've been seeing something about this Southwest seating situation. Now, y'all, these seats, I'm not sure if they've gotten smaller. It feels like they've gotten smaller. Most people say they've gotten smaller. Typically, economy seat width today is about 16 to 18 inches, which is crazy because I probably got 24 inches ass. So I don't know how I fit in the seats. For comparison, the average American body size has increased significantly over the last few decades. So airlines are trying to fit more passengers into the planes while Passengers themselves are getting bigger. That combination creates tension because airlines are focused on maximizing profit per seats and not maximizing comfort. And we always know that it's always about the money. So, y'all,
Over
let's talk
human.
about the big issue because it really boils down to money, right? So, if someone has to purchase two seats, that can easily mean they're paying for a double fare, double tax, and sometimes double fees. So a $300 ticket can all of a sudden become $600, $700. And for many travelers, that's crazy. It's unrealistic. Some people online has been arguing if you require more space, you should pay for more. But other people are arguing airlines are shrinking seats and changing more. So, why should passengers be punished for that? That debate is where most of the controversy lives. Yeah, flying is already stressful. Thinking about asking for a seat extender, of course, I used to try to do that right before, like right when I got on the plane. I didn't wait until I got in my seat. I was like, why? I would get on the plane and be like, can I get a seat extender? Being nervous about sitting next to strangers and anxious about pouring over into their seat or anxious about just not fitting, it's just stressful. And adding body shaming and public attention, it it just becomes an even more uncomfortable
I was approached
situation.
by a Southwest gate agent on my way home from Myrtle Beach when I went on vacation with my mom and brother. She singled me out, came up to me, and asked me if I needed an extra seat. I told her no. I was traveling with my mom and brother. I had traveled there just fine. We were traveling back. We all sit together, three in a row. I had used Southwest customer of size policy multiple times before that. So I know how it worked, but I knew that I didn't need it because we were all sitting together anyway. Even after I said no, she still proceeded to ask me a couple more times, and I told her, I am fine, I am fine, I am fine. This was a few years ago. Now, while it was annoying to me to keep having to tell her no, and it was a little bit embarrassing to be singled out, I actually appreciated that they were so aggressive in their approach to make sure that I was comfortable and that other passengers were also comfortable. How do you go from that? Calm down. How do you go from insisting that a customer use the customer of size policy to make sure that they and other customers are comfortable to forcing them to pay $400-500 for another seat mid layover, mind you, or canceling their flight altogether when they flew from the previous destination just fine? I have no issues with an airline stating that they want their customers to pay for extra seats if they so need. But why is it that Southwest is the only airline that is literally singling out their customers in this type of manner? Southwest has completely lost the plot. The new CEO or whoever is making these decisions is running the company into the ground. And maybe that's the plan. Maybe they're trying to force bankruptcy. But whatever the case, I will never fly with them again.
And as we look at some of these TikToks, we will realize that these are very personal situations more than policies, right? So I don't know. I'm going to down the hill that people really don't care about, in a sense, like fat people as a whole. Like, I feel like we are some of the most disrespected people, talked about, joked about, and get no protection from anyone, right? So in what world is it okay to walk over to someone and tell them basically, you're too fat to get on this plane, you have to pay more, and just continue to harass them and bother them? Yeah, I do understand policy. I do understand making sure that everyone is comfortable, right? I just feel like Southwest rollout of this was not a good rollout at all. If it seems like they're giving their people the okay, the go ahead to embarrass people, and I don't think that's okay. I don't know, just like the suitcases, how y'all have a little measuring thing for the suitcase. Maybe they could have a seat in the back. So I don't know. I don't know. There's a lot of ways they could handle this situation, but the way they are handling it is terrible. And I feel like they're losing a lot of money because of this. Now let's talk about overhead bins for a moment. Now y'all might be wondering, what does overhead bins got to do with body size? Well, when a flight is full, which most are, every inch of space on the plane matters. And everyone has brought in their luggage, their backpacks, and personal items, and the overhead bin fills up quick. When airlines pack planes tight, every seat and every storage decision becomes more and more triggering. So, even though overhead bins aren't directly about body size, they're a part of a larger issue. Think about it this way: you are in the last group to board the plane, you're heavier, right? So, not only now you have a middle seat all the way in the back, you have to squeeze into. You have, let's say, a carry-on and a backpack. These flight attendant finds you somewhere up front for your luggage because there's no other where to keep it, and you have your backpack. So not only are you trying to squeeze your body that's pouring over into these two seats on the side of you, you're trying to squeeze your body in. You also have this huge backpack either between your legs, under the seat in front of you, and that's causing an issue because where your legs gonna go, right? Your legs are gonna be spread out. Or this bag is sitting in your lap the whole time. So not only is your body intruding on others, now this backpack. It is a whole process when you have a bigger body, y'all.
We're small nowadays.
We all have felt the shrinking of airline seats, and I was recently in the interior of a 1980s Boeing. The lighting in here is horrible, so apologies. I'm just recording this on my phone, and if you follow me, you know I mostly post about baking, science behind tips and tricks. Since I test the science behind a lot of food trends, I thought I would tackle the airline seats. So have airline seats really gotten that much smaller? Starting with the pitch. The pitch is the distance between the two seats. Pre-1990s, the average pitch for a standard economy was 33 to 35 inches. I brought my tape measure, and this pitch is 34 inches, so it's in between the standard. Supposedly today the pitches are anywhere from 29 to 33 inches. So this is me sitting in the 1980s plane, and then this is me in a recent flight that I just took. I did not measure the pitch on this Delta plane because we were boarding and I didn't think of it. Again, another before and after. It's not your imagination, the seats have gotten much smaller. Airlines decide the seat size. FAA just requires that it takes 90 seconds for somebody to evacuate their seat, and that's the only requirement that they have.
The average woman in the US is a size 16/18, according to the CDC. But let me tell you something that's gonna blow your mind. Airplane seats? The ones we're all crammed into? They're realistically designed to fit someone who's a size 6 to 8 comfortably. That's based on seat widths of 17 to 18 inches and clothing size charts. So let me ask you this, if the seats aren't built for plus-size people, and they aren't built for the average person, who are they even working for?
So at the end of the day, y'all, the question is, should airlines adjust to the new, bigger bodies that a lot of people have, or should passengers adjust to airline seating, meaning either losing the weight or just buying an extra seat? I don't know. I don't think there's a real easy answer there. If airline seats keep getting smaller while people keep getting bigger, who should actually be responsible for fixing that? So I want to know what y'all think. Do you think airlines should make seats bigger? Do you think passengers who need extra space should have to buy two seats? Or do you think the airline industry needs a complete do-over? Let me know what y'all think in the comments. If y'all like this commentary, please let me know below. Especially if you like content around health, weight, and the culture around it, let me know. Continue to subscribe, like, and comment. Thank y'all so very much for watching, and I'll see y'all in the next one.